Previously on YGO GX, everyone celebrated Duel Monster's Spirit Day by burning all their ash blossoms in a big bonfire, and Cyrus gooned around and found the DMG spot. This episode of YGO GX, entitled Hearts Are Wild, begins on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean. I've seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 4. A tidal wave commanded by a turquoise-haired Atlantean dude is about to smash right into that thing and ultimately cause Yami Yugi to lose a card game. I know where this is going. Anyway, we see two men playing poker, and one of them has a... I'm supposed to know the rules to 2 card games while watching this? Look, I only have enough room in my head for one, and it's gonna be the one that incorporates big butt having holograms, thank you very much. His opponent doesn't respond, so the guy says, "Finally, it looks like the gambler has lost at something." Well, you gotta know when to hold 'em, and when to activate Swords of Revealing Light so all your opponent's monsters are unable to attack for 3 turns. Just like Willie Nelson said. Anyway, turns out this dude has Poker Exodia or something, so he wins. And he says,
"I win again, no?"
Zut alors, it's about time Yu-Gi-Oh! Had a goofy French accent in it. I feel that's the one accent missing from the wide spectrum of cartoonish cadences they've used over at 4Kids. Or as the French would call it, quatre enfants. Later, looking out at the ocean, French Boy is approached by the loser, who points and says, "If you want a real challenge, may I recommend Duel Academy over there?" Yeah, admittedly, getting your education there is a bit of a gamble when it comes to your future prospects. Monsieur Gambler is like, au revoir, and the next thing you know, he's on a jet ski headed right for Academy Island, and he thinks to himself, finally, a chance to get back at the only person who's ever bested him. Okay, so presumably it's one of the teaching staff, but there's also a 1 in 10 chance that Belowski used to moonlight as a Rain Man-esque card shark. And I'll see your cold open and raise you a GX opening theme, because it's time to chill avec le cru dans le schoolyard. Recherching trouble mais jamais regarde too hard. According to Google, get your game on in French is lancez votre jeu, so don't pretend I never taught you anything in these videos. Or that I never Googled something and told you it. And yes, don't forget, this episode takes place in the rise of the Sacré Bleu arc. Alexis appears beside Jaden, who is sitting overlooking the ocean, and when she asks if she's interrupting, he says,
"I just thought it might be nice to take a breather with all this saving the world and shit that's going on."
A bold thing to say right after an episode where you basically played pretend and got dommed in public by the Dark Magician girl, but sure, yeah, you've been working super hard, honey. Alexis tries real hard to formulate a sentence that isn't plot-related.
If you ever need someone to... What I'm trying to say is... Oh, never mind. Has there been any news about Professor Banner?
I can only assume she was attempting to ask him out, and then realized midway through that Jaden's sexuality is based entirely on how many pixels your holographic butt contains. Mine too, for the record. The gambler from earlier finally arrives on the island and goes straight to the Chancellor's office, saying he wants to challenge Alexis. Oh wait, what? It is deeply concerning that this dude knows where she goes to school and also has a long-standing grudge with her. Imagine any other adult person being like, "Oh, that's the school where that one girl goes. I will go straight there and kick off until they let me see her." Crowler justifiably demands an explanation, and the gambler holds up a card that says "The Gambler" on it. And I guess that is all the explanation Crowler gets. Chancellor Shepard insists that this is a school, not a gambling parlor. Honestly, it barely constitutes a school at this point, more like a human zoo with the occasional abduction. The gambler insists that they deliver Alexis to him, or he promises that he will make things most uncomfortable for the Chancellor and his friends. "Joke's on you, I don't have friends. Maybe Crowler, but he already makes me uncomfortable." The door behind the gambler opens on its own, and then it's revealed that Cyrus, Chumley, and a bunch of other Slifer-Reds are eavesdropping on this meeting. I like Chumley's one aggressive blind friend that he's needing to hold back or else violence will go down like right now. Daredevil Jr. over here. You put a daredevil in a corridor and they just want to start hurting people. Jaden arrives and Cyrus tells him they're spying on the meeting in there. So Jaden and Alexis briefly appear in the door, only to disappear when the Gambler looks over at them. The concern on Alexis's face is so noticeable that even someone with the emotional depth of the Dashcon ball pit like Jaden can tell something is up. The Gambler threatens,
"Call her or things go mal."
Yes, mal is the French word for bad, but what he actually means is if Shepard doesn't call Alexis, he's gonna summon Mal from the Descendants franchise to force everyone to do a hip musical number that the kids all want to stream to their various devices. It'll throw off the school's whole vibe. Shepard threatens to have Gambler Garçon thrown out, and Frenchie claims he's bluffing. But then Crowler says he's gonna show his hand, and he snaps his finger, and the room is rushed by uniformed guards who were just waiting off-screen to rumble. Oh shit, Crowler's got dudes! Did you know Crowler has dudes? Crowler has dudes and one lady! This is just like when Ocelot in Snake Eater goes and summons his dudes. But before you can say, "Oh, I'm about to make a name for myself here," the Gambler leaps several feet into the air and starts throwing weaponized playing cards at everyone. I haven't seen this many aces since I did that Ace Ventura marathon, which, yes, included the non-existent third movie about this kid. You know, thinking about it, Ace Ventura Jr. is just a Duel Academy student waiting to happen. The Gambler sits seductively on Shepard's desk and says he's not leaving until he gets Alexis. And then Alexis storms in angrily and we get this exchange.
Well, you haven't grown up too much.
My, you have.
What he's saying is she's got a nice set of honkers now. Also, bien sûr, this is creepy. Alexis says, obviously you want something valuable from me, so what is it? My duel deck? My spirit key? The spirit key is supposed to be something you're protecting with your life. Why are you dangling it in front of the creepy French episodic character? You're just asking for the world to end. The Gambler says he has something Alexis wants, and Alexis intimates it's something he's stolen from her. Yes, that book of random French phrases that are fun to say when being a condescending to people. She's been looking for that thing everywhere. The Gambler says,
"You know you want it, and I know that you will duel for it."
This exchange would be spicier if it hadn't been entirely overshadowed by Crowler's pants falling down. Easily the spiciest moment in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX so far. In the school duel arena, Alexis and Le Petit Twat face off across the room, while Crowler and Shepard watch from the stands. Hysterically, Crowler and Shepard both pick chairs that are a fair distance away and a few seats in. Like, why those? Get a front row seat. They're available. Or are you guys scared with all the French mannerisms you're going to be drowned in condescending spittle? The duel begins.
Pour commencer, je draw.
You know he's a gambler because he's gambling that I won't punch him in the face for saying f***ing je draw. He summons Gamble Angel Bunny, and usually anime bunny girls are all the rage, but this one's appendages just send me into a rage. Massive hands, straight out of the early Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga. Cyrus is into it, but Jaden cautions he doesn't want to make the Dark Magician Girl jealous. Yeah, we wouldn't want the Dark Magician Girl to show up in a sexy bunny costume trying to upstage this monster. That would be just the worst. Gambler Man activates the bunny's special ability, which sadly isn't to sell Cadbury's caramel, it's to toss a coin. Speaking of tossing, Cyrus during this whole part. He says if he guesses right, Alexis loses 1,000 life points, and if he's wrong, he loses 1,000 life points. He then painstakingly explains,
This is heads, this is tails.
This guy's barely explained his whole deal, and yet we're getting a belabored description of which side of a coin is heads or tails. What's next? Are you going to explain what a life point is? Then he flips the coin and his hand makes the most upsetting shape imaginable. Is that a French thing? Can French people just dislocate all their fingers at a moment's notice? Then the Gambler watches the post-credits scene from the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
It's tails.
So yeah, he guessed wrong, but then he activates a trap called Second Coin Toss, which allows him to toss again every single turn. This makes this dude the biggest tosser in Yu-Gi-Oh! History. No contest. Jaden thinks Alexis is in trouble, and Chumley corrects him.
Trouble? She's like the stuffing in a big smackdown sandwich.
A lot of people probably like thinking about Alexis being the stuffing in a sandwich, but probably not the way Chumley's going about it. Also, this is probably the first usage of the word smackdown in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode as far as I know, although Joey might have said it before, I'm probably wrong. So from now on, I can only imagine Chumley as a smarky wrestling fan that engages in tribalistic arguments with AEW fans online. MJF is totally not licious. Anyway, he guesses right this time, and the bunny girl lobs a bunch of coin coins at Alexis, dropping her life points to 3,000. She responds by summoning Cyber Tutu in attack mode, threatening him with her special effect.
She gets to pull a pirouette on your face.
Yeah, the creepy French guy who jet-skied over here to throw his fetishy monsters at you is definitely gonna hate that. I've heard of the king of games, but this seems more like the kink of games. Jaden exclaims,
She can attack that Frere Jacques directly.
and that's easily the most cultured Jaden will ever sound in this entire series. Cyber Tutu starts a spinning, but then it turns out Charles de Duel has a face-down card that lets him, you guessed it, toss a coin, and guess correctly in order to reduce the damage to 0. Man, imagine calling yourself the Gambler with a capital G, and most of your gambling involves a rudimentary coin toss. It'd be like calling yourself the Assassin, but most of your kills are just people who are about to die of old age anyway. Cyrus also watches the post-credits scene from Sonic the Hedgehog, but Jaden has already watched the other 2 movies.
Hey, it's Tails! This time,
Alexis comments that the gambler hasn't changed. She still looks at him and sees the scared boy from school. Oh, they went to school together? He's supposed to be the same age as her. If you say so, anime. We learn the secret origins of Pepe Le Prat.
I never lost a game in school, except to you.
But only because your TTs kept getting in the way of all my coins. It was impossible to toss them without the gravitational pull of the boobies affecting their trajectory. Jaden and the others are confused, so Alexis decides to fill everyone in on their backstory.
It started when we were both really young.
Okay, so according to Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki, Alexis is 15 in this season. So I can only assume this story takes place when they are both zygotes. Seriously, you can't be like, ah yes, the old times, long, long ago, when you've only just learned how to swim without water wings. Apparently Frenchie was like a transfer student who didn't have any friends, but Alexis and all the other students tried to make him feel welcome. Ah, see, that was your first mistake, expecting a French person to have a social etiquette that makes sense. You can't just be nice to a French dude and not anticipate him spending the rest of his young adult years gambling on casino cruise ships and harassing you at Card Game University.
We were your new family.
Wait, what happened to his old one? Did he have to choose between school or family? What? Alexis claims he repaid their kindness by ripping them all off. And to prove this, we see Gambler playing a card game with another classmate who wins the game and brags, I got your little car, so Gambler offers up another toy car and says double or nothing, which, how is that ripping anyone off? That just seems like a basic wager that any kid would make. Alexis doubles down.
You just had so much money and so many toys.
Yeah, you, kid. How dare you? What a bastard. No wonder Alexis hates this guy. This guy and his toys. Motherfucker, you piece of shit. You should be crawling back to the rock you came out of, you bastard man.
That you'd keep gambling and gambling and gambling until they finally lost.
That just sounds like playing a game. Nobody's forcing anyone to keep gambling their toys against him, and if anything, it sounds like he kept losing. So why did he claim that Alexis was the only one who could beat him? None of this holds up to even the slightest scrutiny. But also, this kid and his having toys, that big bastard child that he is. Clearly this is all his fault. We finally learn his fucking name about 12 minutes in.
All right, Pierre. Give those things back.
Pierre Marcel, the French guy, you give those things people gave you back right now, you asshole. Young Pierre says he'll only give that stuff back if she beats him at the game, which again, shouldn't be hard because literally everyone else seems to have beaten him before he, gambled again, and he spots an item he desires sticking out of her pocket.
La scarpe de maman.
Yeah, it's her mum's scarf, which, yeah, okay. At this point, that's kind of messed up since it's an important personal possession, but also, why is it just shoved in your pocket like that if it means so much to you? I bet you're using it to blow your nose in. Alexis agrees to the terms, and we see behind them both that everyone in the class did the same painting of a field, and they're really proud of it. And Alexis insists that instead of a traditional card game, they play Duel Monsters. The new hotness. Alexis beats him numerous times and he accuses her of cheating, but Alexis says she just knows how to play, which is actually a form of cheating back then because, of course, when the game was first introduced, no anime character knew what the actual rules were. Pierre just snatches the scarf out of her pocket and scarpers with it, and I guess he's just kept the scarf ever since. Really seems like Alexis's parents could have stepped in to talk to Pierre's parents and resolved this, especially since the scarf is her mum's, but as established, when going to this school, you must first sacrifice your entire family or something.
You stole it. A gift my mom gave me. Her favorite scarf.
Can't imagine how irreplaceable it was, piece of red fabric and all. Pierre says that her scarf has become his favorite lucky charm. You've had to re-roll your coin flips about 20 times already. I don't think the scarf is putting in much work, mon ami. He does the coin toss tango a few more times, and Alexis gets bombarded with bullions. And then Pierre summons a second bunny girl to the field. This is 2 duels in a row where they're summoned nothing but cute girls. I can't complain too much. Pierre commands his bunny girl army to
Now attack that Cyber Tutu!
Or as Pierre would translate it, that's Cyber You. Get it? Because tu is you in French. Again, you learn things. Alexis activates a trap that forces her to take the hit directly, saving her Cyber Tutu and allowing it to do damage to Pierre equal to her attack points. Don't poo-poo the tutu, her frou-frou will give you a boo-boo. Pierre has the other bunny take out Cyber Tutu, dropping Alexis to 600 life points as he announces,
La tournement est fini, ma chère!
In what way is this single duel a tournament, mate? Also, I have to ask, you clearly spent many years begrudging the fact that Alexis defeated you this one time, but unless you immediately jet-skied away from that school and never came back, surely you had every opportunity to get your win back. Alexis activates Scapegoat and then Pierre summons Sand Gambler. And okay, things make a lot more sense now. Turns out this dude is based on an actual Yu-Gi-Oh card. I like to think Pegasus saw this dude taken off with Alexis's scarf and was like, oh, that guy's a piece of shit. Make him a duel monster. Not sure why he's called Sand Gambler, but his hands are in his pockets, so there's a 50% chance of pocket sand being his mode of attack. Pierre says,
He brings a je ne sais quoi.
In French, that translates to he has 300 attack points and sucks ass. Sand Gambler lets Pierre toss even more bloody coins, of course, and if it comes up heads 3 times in a row, all of Alexis's monsters are destroyed. Look, you've literally had to flip every coin twice to get the result you wanted. Why do you think this is going to work? He then explains that if he gets a tails, all his monsters go away. Oh, so absolutely nothing but downside then. Your card is as baffling as you are. Jaden reacts to King Ghidorah.
3 heads? There's no way!
Pierre successfully gets 1 heads, and then he threatens to convert Alexis's scapegoat's sexual preferences.
And if I get 2 more, your piece go by.
Oh, it turns out when he gets a tails, he can flip again with his second coin toss card. This has to be one of the least exciting duels I've ever seen, just because it's a guy pressing Control-Z over and over again. And oh hey, he gets a 3rd head, so the effect actually activates at last, and all of Alexis's scapegoats explode. Pierre scoffs,
I love it when a plan comes together.
oh yeah? Well, I pity the fool who takes people's mums' scarves and travels exclusively via jet ski. Alexis activates Hallowed Life Barrier, which protects her life points from damage, and then she takes her turn and thinks to herself,
I tried to be your friend, Pierre. I tried to teach you the game that I loved.
could we have seen any of that? Perchance? All we got was you getting mad at him for winning games other people voluntarily participated in, and then he nicked your scarf. It didn't seem like an especially deep betrayal. As far as we know, your friendship was just sitting in the same room as him. Just be mad that he stole something. There's no other reason to resent him. Well, also for jet ski stalking you all the way to Duel Academy, I suppose. Alexis uses the Warrior Returning Alive to bring back Cyber Tutu, and really that spell card should be called the Ballerina Returning Alive. And then Alexis activates another spell card to sacrifice Tutu to bring out Cyber Prima, whose ability destroys every spell card on the field, ruining Pierre's plans to keep tossing coins and shit. Alexis puts the denouement on this tete-a-tete. And speaking of tets, check out Cyber Prima.
It'll finally be my turn to say au revoir.
You know she spent most of the duel trying to think of a single French phrase to use, and this was the best she could come up with. Alexis continues to dunk on Pierre.
You're not a winner. Pierre, you're not even a gambler. You're just a scared kid back in school.
You know, it really kind of feels like you weren't his friend at any point, Alexis, given that you still hold it against him that he showed up in a new school and was scared to meet new people. But sure, yeah, the dude who took down like 4 armed guards earlier in the episode is a big wuss. Absolutely. Cyber Prima attacks, and despite Pierre's best efforts, aka flipping yet another coin, his first call is wrong and he doesn't get a second chance, and his Sand Gambler becomes dust. As he loses the remainder of his life points, he falls to one knee, which isn't the traditional pose, but that's how they do it in France, I guess. Chumley says,
That was delicious.
Add it to the list of liciousness. Pierre accuses her of just getting lucky, and Alexis shouts back that she doesn't believe in luck, just working hard and playing hard. You might be confused as to why a student at a school that teaches how to play a luck-based card game would make such a statement, but as everyone knows, when Kaiba created Duel Academy, he made certain to remove any and all references to luck-based cards on the curriculum purely to spite Joey. Then Pierre makes this shocking confession.
The only reason I wanted to duel was because I loved you.
Oh, and it's back to being enormously creepy again. Got it.
I thought if I won, that maybe you would fall in love with me, Alexis.
What is going on with this guy's voice? He's starting to sound more like one of the Nemoidians from Phantom Menace. They are no match for droidekas, Alexis. He tosses her the scarf and bids her adieu. Unless she wants to come with, she immediately says no, which makes sense because two people can't fit on a jet ski, and also this guy f***ing sucks. Chumley reveals he's a French savant.
Well, le corps a ses raisons. You know what I'm saying?
Ah, that's French for I only have about 7 episodes left. Jaden sucks up to Alexis by complimenting her skills, and Shepard remarks,
Jaden's such a simple...
Everyone walks away from Jaden as he continues to yuck it up, saying sayonara. He then asks if that's French. Well, it's certainly not Japanese. Can't have any of that in a 4Kids dub. Et voila! C'est the end of the episode. Gotta be honest, not my favorite episode of GX. The whole time I was comparing this in my head to the Jean-Claude Magnum episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, except switching out My Valentine with Alexis and switching out the very memorable Jean-Claude Magnum character who got his comeuppance in a very satisfying way with Pierre the Gambler, who is treated like a villain for doing something pretty innocuous and is not really dealt with in a very satisfying way. Alexis wins the duel and he just sort of wanders off. We don't really have enough time with the character to care about him or enjoy him that much. Like, the French accent is silly. I know it's probably exclusive to the dub, though. And the whole, like, I've held on to this crush for you a long time and I've shown up on a jet ski to duel you so that you might have, you know, feelings for me as well. It don't work very well. They spend far too long getting to the actual reason that he is after Alexis to the point that you don't really care about why they're dueling or how the duel transpires. And if the duel was good, it would probably compensate for all the issues I have with it as a little mini episode, you know? But because the duel is just a guy flipping coins over and over again and being like, and then I've got this trap that lets me flip more coins. No, it was boring. And the worst thing that Yu-Gi-Oh! GX can do is be boring, in my opinion, especially after one of the best episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've ever seen. And I do want to keep mentioning that the previous episode, the Duel Monsters Spirit Day episode, was such an amazing story and character piece. And then this is really trite and not very satisfying at all. I shouldn't be able to say that about an episode where Crowler summons a bunch of armed guards to take down a dude, but yeah, that was the highlight, and unfortunately, the rest of the episode let it down. I felt very underwhelmed by the backstory between Alexis and Pierre. It just didn't make much sense to me. Like, why is she angry at him for just accepting people's gambles? Like, he wasn't like Jedi mind tricking them into forcing them to gamble. They just decided to do that. And Alexis, you just sort of sat there and watched it happen, and then afterwards was like, how dare you? I like Alexis. I like Alexis as a character, so I feel like this episode was just like, whatever. Like, she didn't come across as a very strong duelist. She just was able to defeat a guy who was relying entirely on luck. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being a curmudgeon, but no. I imagine people who come to this show for the funnies didn't get much out of it because it wasn't that funny. And then the people who come to the show for the duels are probably like, well, this is just the same turn over and over again. Why is this a thing? I've not given up on GX as a result, don't get me wrong. I know I like to speak positively about the show, and I'm trying very hard to think of positives from this episode. Chumley was very funny when he said French things. I like that they keep trying to remind us that Professor Banner has gone missing and is probably evil, but it's really not that big a concern. Everybody's just sort of moseying along with their lives. I want to say a very big thank you to all of our Patreon pledges. Thank you so much for your constant patience and your support over the years. No matter how much support you've been able to give me over the years, believe me, it has made the world of difference and is why I'm still able to continue making content. And I hope that I can keep making consistent content for you. Thank you so much for your constant patience. Well, that's the end of episode 43 of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Tune in next time for episode 44, entitled The Seventh Shadow Rider, which sounds to me like we're building to a climax in the Rise of the Sacred Beast story arc, and I've been on the edge of my seat. Mostly because all the coins that Pierre dropped during this episode have fallen down between the couch cushions. I'm trying to find them. But no, I'm very excited, I assure you. I can't wait to find out what happens in the exciting story of the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I'll catch you next time.
This is heads, this is tails. This is heads, this is tails. This is heads, this is tails.